Hi, everybody. My name is Amber, and I'm an organizer with Valencia Water Watchers. Thank you so much for sharing the slides for me tonight. It makes it a lot easier for me to focus on my notes if I have somebody doing that. So I will be doing half of the presentation tonight, and Deirdre Velasquez will be doing the second half. And we have some other members from our small group here tonight as well. So Valencia Water Watchers is a non-political, non-partisan grassroots coalition of local residents advocating for water conservation to ensure a sustainable and equitable future for generations to come. We are purposefully a nonpartisan group. We're an issues-based group, and since water scarcity affects all of us, we want everyone in our county involved. We advocate, promote, and educate about water issues with our community. And we've been organizing around local water concerns since we first formed in January of 2020. I want to stress that we are just ordinary residents of Valencia County who care about our water. We are not water experts by any means, but we have had to learn a lot in order to be involved in this work. And we're excited to share what we've learned with all of you. Next slide, please. There we go. So our work has been extremely local. But the longer that we have, I'm going to talk about the two major things that we've been organizing around. The longer that we organize around water, though, the more we've learned about big picture issues with water in our state. And I think it's important to I just wanted to give everyone an idea. You're probably familiar with a lot of this, but an idea of what we're dealing with on a statewide level. And it helps put into perspective why we're so concerned about the things that we're concerned about on a local level. So there was a presentation the other night by the Middle Rio Grande water advocates, and I pulled this slide from their presentation. I thought it just gave a really good overview. Major problems facing New Mexicans in the coming decades: persistent drought that's exacerbated by rising annual temperatures, catastrophic wildfires, declining aquifers that are resulting from reduced surface water supply. So as there's less available water, surface water, people have to go further down to get the water that they need. Aging water and wastewater infrastructure, the need for stormwater control investments as we get more intense monsoons, lack of consistent funding, and then the need for long view planning because of the years of underfunding. They also had this quote on their website that New Mexico's existing water governance is not working and is wrong for the 21st century. And basically, we need more modern systems to monitor our water. Next slide, please. So Valencia County is about 30 minutes south of Albuquerque with Isleta Pueblo in between. We're a county of about 77,000 people. Median household income, about 50,000. One of the key features of our community is the Rio Grande River that runs right through the middle of the county. The river's a vital source of water for crops. It's a historically agricultural county. In the 1600s, people settled down near the river and introduced acequias into the landscape. The people who live here have a strong, many generations old culture and traditions around the water. And this is also a historic community. Our county includes parts of Laguna Pueblo and Isleta Pueblo, and our county also has the Tome land grant and families from that land grant that have lived here for over 300 years. Next slide, please. So we have mainly been organizing around two major issues, and this is the first one. The problem is the Natural Resource Overlay Zone, which essentially over this summer opened Valencia County up to fracking and all the hazards that brings. So in early May of this year, we were at a county commission meeting to advocate for a fireworks ban, and we just happened upon this. With no public input, the commission voted to pass a natural resource overlay zone, ordinance without the required public notification. We informed the public about that they were kind of trying to pass this, and we brought about 50 to 75 community members to the county commission meeting on June 1st. Because of all the public opposition, the commission agreed to rescind the illegally passed ordinance and hold a properly noticed public hearing in mid-July. Our county has a zoning ordinance already in place for a mineral resource district that's been in place for 18 years, and no one has ever drilled here. In contrast, this natural resource overlay zone ordinance was written by the county lawyer and Mr. Harvey Yates, who's right here on the left on his horse. He's a multimillionaire who made his fortune from oil and gas operations in New Mexico and several neighboring states. The county lawyer and Mr. Yates heavily influenced the language of the NROZ ordinance, and they added several exemptions into the ordinance that specifically favor the oil and gas industry. In a newspaper article, Mr. Yates was quoted as saying that his dream is to drill in Valencia County. Next slide, please. So we have been in conversation with a geologist, Mr. Don Phillips, and he has gone over with us that there's two major risks of fracking in our county. The first major one is the earthquake potential. The Rio Grande Rift is one of only 4 active continental rifts on Earth, and active continental rifts are still forming, and they have a huge earthquake potential. Drilling here would be catastrophic with a near 100% chance of causing earthquakes, according to the geologist, Don Phillips. And I'm going to let Deirdre take it from here on the next slide, and we can move on to that next one now. Thank you.
So the second risk that comes with fracking in Valencia County is contamination of our drinking water aquifer. The Albuquerque Basin is a continuous water aquifer that extends from Cochiti to Socorro. There are faults and fractures everywhere in the Albuquerque Basin, and fracking fluids, which contain hundreds of toxins, move along these fault lines. This poses a huge risk and would impact more than half of the state's population who rely on the Albuquerque Basin for safe, clean drinking water. We are also very, very concerned about where the water for fracking will come from, as it consists anywhere from 5 million to 60 million gallons of water for each well. Next slide, please. At our NROZ public hearing that was held on July 14th, we had over 200 people in attendance. Over 6 weeks was taken to organize around this hearing, from when we found out about the ordinance to when the hearing was scheduled. Of those over 200 people, which included geologists, health experts, youth activists, and community members from neighboring pueblos, they gave 7.5 hours of testimony, all of which, or 75% of which, was opposed. At the end of the hearing, the commissioners unfortunately voted 3-2 to adopt the Natural Resource Overlay Zone ordinance. They did add in some amendments from the existing Mineral Resource District zoning language. However, we are continuing to organize around this issue as we wait for an application to be filed for an NROZ permit. We've been fundraising, finding legal consultation, and informing the community about what's going on, in addition to preparing speakers for the first permit hearing. Next slide, please. The other major issue we've been organizing around is Niagara bottling. Currently, Niagara bottling takes 285 acre-feet per year, which is almost 93 million gallons from our aquifer. They are requesting to take 700 acre-feet per year, which is over 228 million gallons of water per year. Over the 5 years they are requesting it for, that will be 1.14+ billion gallons total. In the middle of the desert, in the middle of a historic drought, when our aquifer is shrinking, our water is needed for our people and farmers and wildlife, and not for Niagara's profit. This is their 4th time coming back to the village council to ask for more water. The first time, in January 2020, we formed Valencia Water Watchers. The second time, in February 2021, we organized a rally, circulated an online petition that received over 30,000 signatures, and contacted the press. The day before the village council meeting, Niagara Bottling actually pulled their request. The third time, which was this summer, the village council tabled the request because they were still waiting for a report from their water experts. And now Niagara's back again, a 4th time, and we are waiting to get our hands on this report. We are organizing a campaign against this request that includes collaboration with Isleta Pueblo, who is extremely concerned, involving the press again, issuing a press release, and involving the community to send emails and show up at the meeting to speak out. Next slide, please. So how can the Environmental Caucus help? Well, you can join our email list to stay up to date. That's one way. You can find that information on our website, valenciawaterwatchers.com. And also, you can advocate for important water legislation that is coming up. Retake Our Democracy reported recently by the time many legislators get to a hearing, very often they have already decided how to vote on a bill. Reaching them before the legislative session is crucial. We will be joining the Middle Rio Grande water advocates later in January for their Think Water Act Now rally at the Roundhouse, January 26th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. We ask you to please join us. Additionally, we will need experts for the NRAS hearing. Next slide, please. We need to plan for resilience now. Aside from the persistent drought, increasing aridity, and declining aquifers, there's been a consistent lack of funding for statewide agencies that oversee our water. There are outdated systems and not enough staff to address all of the issues. Water resilience planning, as suggested by the 2023 Water Resilience Planning Act, would address a lot of these issues, especially those pictured here on the slide. Next slide, please. So to keep up to date with Valencia Water Watchers, follow us to keep up with all of this information about NRAS, Niagara, our Facebook, and other water-related issues in Valencia County. Like I said before, you can visit our website. I believe Amber posted the link in chat, valenciawaterwatchers.com, Facebook at VWW page, Instagram at Valencia Water Watchers, all one word. And you can email us directly at valencia.water.watchers@gmail.com. And that is all I have to present. Thank you very much for having us. It's a great opportunity. Amber, did you have anything to close out, or?
I don't, just thank you.
Thank you so much for this presentation. It was very interesting and very informative. Thank you.